On a Friday, I think it's April 24th or 25th, I don't know, somewhere around there. So this is a work in progress here, this cant hook. So I turned this on the lathe a long time ago. When on a rainy day or something, that's how these projects go, and they just got put on hold over the years. So I decided yesterday I would finish this up, sanded it, put some linseed oil on this, and I went and found some steel pipe, fencing pipe actually, ugly galvanized stuff, making these parts. This is going to be a cant hook, so this has got to be, I bet you this piece here is 100 years old. That's the piece that grabs the log. You got a bolt goes through there. And I'm doing the last step. I didn't video any of it because there's just no time to get these things done. If I video it, ends up taking 4 hours longer. So that's why, if you enjoy the videos, you should always give a thumbs up to anybody, not just me, that puts the time into making these videos, because just a tremendous amount of time goes in, and thumbs up really makes you feel like it's worth the effort. I don't get too many. So I need a kind of a little bit longer bolt. I think I'm going to use this one anyway, but if it does break or fall out, I need something about 1/4 of an inch longer. So I'm using the Lincoln Power MIG. I think that's a 255. Doesn't say on it anywhere. Wait, we have enough gas to get this job done. I used to say somewhere on it. There it is, 255, yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty handy little MIG welder. I've got 2 of them. I got one at home. Doesn't have the dials, doesn't have the digital readout, has the same dials. Make short work of this stuff. So I got a bucket of water down here. I think there's a hole in that bucket. And then I got a little pitcher of water up here. I don't want to burn the wood, so I got to refill this. And then as I weld, I just pour it on there so it doesn't burn the wood too badly. I have to do it right on there. And then I'm going to drill. And you know what I might do is just put a nail or something and just weld it in there. So it just holds it in place. Something, maybe a piece of 1/4 inch rod or something. Something solid. This came off on the first, this is a piece that came off an old cant hook I made like back in 98, I bet. Around there. Late 90s, during the ice storm. Ice storm was 98, so it had to be that year or the year after. So I didn't like the way I made it. I had these holes, and I had bolts through the piece of wood, and it ended up breaking. So I go with the big round piece. It's a little more work, but it lasts. Okay, we got to clamp it right there too. There's a bit of a gap there. There's a taper on this. So then I stuck this piece of pipe in the lathe, and I machined out. I bored in with a boring bar, and I put a little bit of taper, but it only goes in about this deep, because the wall is a little bit thin to go more than that, but it gets me on there about 3/4 of an inch more. And then I did the same with this one earlier today. I did the taper over here. Yeah, trying to do it quick. I don't want to spend 8 hours making this thing. You can buy these for about $100. So, over a period of a couple of years, you can make a couple. I got the reason why I'm doing this is I got a huge tree that fell down last fall. I mean, the log is 32, 36, I don't know, 34, 36 inches. I can't roll it by myself. It's going to take 2 of us, and we're going to both have to have cant hooks just to cut the log up and get it out of there. And the one that I had, the handle broke. This was always kept indoors with it got some sort of dry rot. Look at that. I never ever left this outside in the weather, but somehow it rotted away. I bet you this one's 100 years old. So it's got this little gripper thing here. And I think that's a forged piece of steel, because it's got a part number on there. 18. And then this is just really nice. It's for big logs. This hook is really big. I call it the hook part. And then the handle used to be another 16 inches longer. So it was, this is the cant hook I needed for that job, but you know, I think I'm going to make a handle for this one, but that might take another year or two. It's spare time, rainy days, and days when you have nothing to do. But what I'll do is I will measure the taper on this. I'll actually make it to match. There's one screw in there. That's actually loose on there. So there must be something in there holding that on there. Okay, so I don't want this video to be too long, but you get the idea. Sorry I didn't take any video of it, but we're just going to put a bead of weld down here, and then the other side, the same thing. Drill a hole, put a pin in there of some kind, and weld it. And job is complete. And I might weld the nut, put the nut on and weld it. I had a washer in there because you want it to be kind of sloppy a little bit, so that's kind of in the, I planned it to be like that because yeah, it's working pretty good. And this is a piece of ironwood, so it's just about indestructible wood. I mean, you can break it, but I don't think it'll ever break on this. It's like kind of like a baseball bat, but the shaft is much thicker here up at this end. That's about 1 3/4 inches or so. And here we're looking at, I measured that earlier today, and do you think I can remember what it is? No, I can't remember. It's around 2.5. Yeah. And then the end is a little smaller. I'm just copying what I see, what other people have done. So that's about 2 inch. None of the pipe I had was the right size, so I had to I collapsed this one down a little smaller, and I made this one bigger. The space that's in here is about a 3/4 inch space there. That's what I ended up with. And I was thinking I was going to cut all the metal out and drop that down in there, but I think it'll be fine like that. We are a bead there and there. Okay, let's get welding. Fill that pitcher up with water. That's what we're doing. Yeah, I rotated it around a little bit to get the backside. Filled up my pitcher. There's the idea. I don't like the way that finished up. The other side turned out nice, but not too... a lot of impurities in that metal. There's galvanized stuff and dirt and oil, and I tried like heck to clean it up. That one needs a little touch up too. I might put a little more of a blob in there, and that head might clear actually. I didn't want to put any there because I thought a head of that bolt would hit. It will get painted, and I'm gonna wire brush all this rust off here. I might actually use a sanding disc and clean it up, get that sharpened up right here. I don't think this part of the cant hook here is from, I found it somewhere. I think I found it in a barn, my uncle's barn or something. Like, I'm talking 30 years ago, and it's been kicking around. This is the first time I will ever use it on a cant hook. I don't know where the one came from with this piece here. I think the other one I made, I must have made a different piece for this. And I used I don't know what you call this part. So it's on another cant hook, but this didn't get used. So it's used today, and we'll just touch that up a little more. We're going to paint this. I'm going to paint the whole thing red, because if you leave it laying in the ground somewhere, it's a lot easier to see if it's red. And I do have to sand that off somehow. So, got a little more stuff to finish up. That's the little nub from the live center I had in there on the lathe. I faced that off, but couldn't get that off. So, anyway, a little bit of what I'm doing on this nice Friday. Beautiful weather outside. And thought I'd share with you what I'm doing. If you're not sure how one of these works, I don't know. Maybe I'll use it in a future video, and you'll see. It's very, very handy to have when you're trying to move a big heavy log. It's the best. So I'm gonna drill in there. Yeah, don't forget to do that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and a thumbs up is always appreciated. Have a good day. Okay, it's on the sawhorse. Sawhorse is here. We're finished. So I spent a little bit more time. I polished this up a little bit. I could have taken a lot more off, but I want to kind of leave that old look. It's, it's 100 years old, so it's pretty pitted. It was probably laying on the floor of a barn for 40 or 50 years. And then what I did was, this worked really well. I took a 1/4-inch bolt, drilled the 1/4-inch hole, hammered it in there, cut it off with the grinder so it was flush, put a blob of weld on there. And then that worked so nicely. I did the same thing here with another bolt. And then I should clean that little ugly weld up there. Yeah, and then I welded this nut right on there. That should not come off, but if it does, it's not the end of the world. We'll do it again. I'm going to touch this up, I think, too. Ugly welds. But I thought I would show it to you. Completely finished. The next time you see it, I might paint it. I will paint it, I think, because it's easier to see. And I don't want the bare metal getting all rusty, so. And you'll see it in action, maybe. Rolling a big log, giant log. Maybe I'll make a short video. I like making short videos because there's not a lot of editing to do. It's a 1 minute or shorter. I think they're up to 3 minutes now, but I usually keep them under a minute. My goal is to make them 1 minute or shorter. You can't really put much in a video like that. You can't even talk about anything but just get a few short messages across. That's about it. And it's loose on purpose. So that looks like it's kind of a mistake, that slop that you see. But you want it to kind of pivot freely. I like it. And then you got this knob on this end. There was bark over here. I think you can still see a little bit of the bark right there. So it was so crooked, that piece of wood that I had, that that was the best I could do at this end. Because it curved, and then it curved back. Anyway, whatever it did. But it's good and strong. And I like making things. That's mostly why I did this, is I just really like making stuff. I've had this kicking around for half a lifetime. And now it's actually going to get used. I made this piece myself. That's just a simple piece of mild steel. I think that's hot rolled angle. People call it angle iron. It's steel. And then a bolt I found in the bolt bin. Piece of fence post. Old frost fence. Both of these. That's a small piece. That's the larger. And then that's a piece of 3/8 by 1 inch flat bar. I cut and drilled 1/2 inch hole. And then you want that piece right there. You have to have a piece there. Stop it from going beyond this point. They all seem to have that, so I put that in mine. And oh yeah, I sounded that nub off. Could do a little more there. And the nub at this end, I think I did that on the bench grinder. It's all burnt. There's my center. You see, I had a center over here, and it was so off-centered, I was going to end up with a big piece of bark right here, so, or was it, oh, right here, yeah. So I had to move it over, no, here, on whatever side. I moved it over to here. You can see it was there. Moved it about 1/2 inch. It was going to be an inch of run out at this end down here. it was, you know, straighter piece would have been better, but that's a piece of ironwood. They're hard to come across. And I probably cut that tree 20 years ago or more. So everything's been kind of waiting all this time to do this. And I looked at that piece of wood and I thought, you know what, I should just cut that up for firewood. And I said, no, I'm going to make a cant hook. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching.